All right. We are currently in the process of learning today. What's going on, everybody? This is Phil Jones or Mike Jones, however you know me personally or professionally, and I am the host of the Extraordinary Man podcast. And you guys know that I got some over the top, elaborate way of explaining to y'all who this amazing man is that is sitting next to me. I call him a co-host, but he's more than that's my brother. It's my brother, man. It's got that stuff flowing through him. Greatest A minus Mike on the face of the planet. As soon as he starts speaking, he gonna be the A plus Mike, and I'm gonna shut up. But y'all know who he is, and if y'all don't know who he is, let me introduce y'all. State your name.
What is going on, man? As always, man, thank you for the honorable intro. I am Midas. Make sure you put a king in front of that. Let's go.
All right, so we finna just jump right into this. We're sorry we're a little bit behind. We had some technical difficulties. Y'all have to understand dealing with
As usual.
technology. Dealing with technology, we got to get it together. So we appreciate everybody who's tuning in or who's gonna catch the show on the back end. Today we're gonna have a very, very, very interesting conversation, and we would like you to, if you're catching this, make sure to put something in the chat so that we can see it, so we can know that you are engaged and know that you are involved. Today's topic is you can't fake your way through. What does this topic mean? It means I don't care how good it look, I don't care how you try to dress it up, I don't care how you try to make it sound. The real is the real, the fake is the fake. There's no way of getting around it. So when you go out here and you see people who are putting on all of this front, who are talking all this jazz, who are making it, just laying it on thick, but then you start asking questions and start peeling off layers and you start realizing that, that's fool's gold. Oh, you trying to sell me the Brooklyn Bridge? I already bought that. Before you know it, you start to come to the realization that the more you ask people questions and the more that you talk to them, the more that the stories start to unravel. It's time to call BS, baby. What you think, Midas?
Well, before we, go any further, what I like to do is I want to drop a bomb on all the facade. So, to your point, when you get to talking to somebody, you asking questions, you asking meaningful questions because the quality of your answer is predicated on the quality of your question. So, when you start really digging into people and you're like, wait a minute, Tony Robbins said that. Wait a minute, Dan Locke said that. Wait a minute. Like Dan Pena said that. What you know what I'm saying? When you start getting deep into these individuals, you really start to peel back that onion and you really start to see them for who they are for real. And they real slick with their words. It's basically Loki. For those of you that don't know Loki, he is the Norse god of trickery. Trying to finesse people, trick people out of their money, out of whatever possessions that he can benefit for him. That's how I see those people.
One thing that I believe that you got to take into consideration always is the fact that those who are don't go out of their way to overcompensate, and those who aren't, that concept of fake it till you make it. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that. And I want to just be honest with you guys, right? I have played on that side of the fence to where I tried to overcompensate or overhype certain things that I did because I felt inadequate. When you get in a room full of people who are actual practitioners, who are actual skilled people, you can easily separate the real from the fake with those things. Like, for instance, one of the biggest facades that I hear from a lot of people is this concept of being an entrepreneur. And it's like once you start peeling back the layers, it's like I ask people, okay, you try to sell me this image that you are a boss, which completely respect in most cases. But when you start peeling the layers of the onion back and you come to the realization, okay, well, you still got a day job and you don't live off of what you do. You're not even really making money. Just because you have an LLC or a sole proprietorship or whatever entity that you have, it does not make you an entrepreneur yet. Doesn't make you a boss. You don't get to throw around certain terminology just because you're in the beginning stages. Don't okay, cool. You may be great at a skill, but are you able to monetize that skill? You don't get to sit in a room full of people who have successfully made themselves from day one into who they are and try to contend like you are in that realm or you're on that level with them. It doesn't make sense. And when you're sitting in a room with somebody who is developed, who has worked on those skills, who has not only cultivated those skills, but also found a way to monetize that skill, you sound like a fool.
Yeah.
I'll tell
You
you,
can't speak the terminology. You can't recite any articles, anybody that's from the field. You can't regurgitate. You can regurgitate basic surface level information, but you can't actually dig deep and give in-depth insight information on how to become successful for real in this particular industry. You just can't speak to it because you haven't done it.
the one thing that I guess really gets under my skin with it all is that there's nothing wrong with asking people, hey, how did you get that? Rather than trying to pretend or trying to create this image for yourself as if you're already there, there's nothing wrong with going to somebody saying, like, hey, I would like mentorship. I would like to get in the position the way you are. I would like to understand the part that I don't see every day. I would like to transition out of where I am to where I'm going. But
Mhm.
one of the things that I noticed is that, especially in this social media space, is that there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of people who are finance gurus, relationship gurus, every type of guru that there's under the sun. But then when you peel the layers back, they've never actually earned from the thing that they do.
I think it's so much more than that. Like, not only do they not earn from the thing that they do, that they claim that they do, but when you start peeling back that layer of onion, those layers of that onion, you can see that everything that they talk about or present, they aren't even doing themselves. Like, they're not even acting on their own information that they're providing to people. They can't show and prove. A relationship guru. Well, you're divorced. You can't speak about how to have a successful relationship, and you haven't, what I'm saying, and you talking about that, oh, I was this, I was that, I didn't put the work in, blah blah blah, you didn't work at it. So how can you speak to how to have a successful one when you yourself don't have a successful one? That's just my opinion on that.
It's like the equivalent of the girl in a relationship going to the single friend to ask for relationship advice.
Yeah. What's going on, Jose? Good evening, sir. Good evening.
All right, one thing that I want to make sure to emphasize that if you guys are going to be in the audience, you guys are going to be on the listening side of it, please leave a comment right underneath the video. Let us know that you're here with us tonight. Let us know that you're rocking with us. We would definitely love to be able to have an interactive conversation, examples or something along the lines of the subject matter that we're talking about. We definitely want to make this more of a show that is interactive with the people because we love what we do, but most importantly, we love the people who tune in with us and rock with us. So
Absolutely.
don't be too shy to leave a comment. Talk with us. Add to it.
Yeah,
But
let us know where you tapping in from. Let us know where you listening from.
that would be good. Let us know where you're listening from. We want to know where you guys are too. Like, make sure that you post in. Let us know what city, state. I like to know if I got a fan in Arkansas. That would make me feel good. Maybe I need to go
Oh
to
yeah, oh
Arkansas.
yeah.
Nah, but so for instance, right? I had an interview today.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wasn't gonna let the cat out of the bag just yet because obviously you don't want to jinx the results. But I had a interview for another position similar to what it is that I'm currently doing. My phone in Florida, baby,
He's reporting from his phone.
reporting live from everywhere.
He said, "FL baby, Florida baby."
So in having an interview, the final question that the interviewer asks, he says to me, "Well, why you?" And I sat there and I told him straight up. I told him I know the cliche answer that many people want to give. Oh, it's because I'm hardworking. It's because I'm this much of an asset. I bring this to the table and so forth. And I told them, look, I'm just gonna give it to you the way that it is, and I'm gonna give you an opportunity to choose for yourself if this is what you want. And I laid out to him what I am. This is what you're getting when it comes from me. This is what my skill set is. I'm a people oriented manager. These are how this is how I operate. So in the event, if this is what you're looking for to add to your team, I'm your man. In the event that you're looking for something different, I like you to know upfront what you're getting so you can make a qualified decision for yourself. I don't have time at almost 40 years old to try to sell you a package that's
Yeah.
not authentic. Because I'm not going to go anywhere and pretend to be somebody I'm not. I have a particular skill set. That skill set may or may not be appreciated. And I'm letting you know that when I walk in the door anywhere, one, I'm looking for mentorship because you have a particular understanding that I don't have. Number two, when I walk in the door, I'm letting you know that I have my particular brand of things that I need to do, and I need the autonomy for you to get out of my way to let me put it in place. And number three, I'm letting you know that my job is to protect you. So if you don't give me what I need to make sure that you look good, you ask for it yourself. That's your problem.
Mm-hmm.
So now you take with that what you will, and then we go from there.
Yeah, that whole concept of sell yourself, like a hooker with a glitter thong on, that concept don't work no more. Back then, absolutely, but we didn't have all of this access to information, and businesses are starting to start to gravitate and move in different directions now. The way that consumers respond to businesses is different now. Like, consumers today respond to businesses as if the business is an actual person for real.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, legally, yeah, but I was talking to my mentor, and I was kicking him some game. Like, listen, you know, I understand that a real quick good example would be when you call Apple. You don't say that I spoke to Tiffany at Apple. I spoke to Jose at Apple. You just simply just say I spoke to Apple and they said this and they finna handle this for me. I went to the Apple store. You don't know what genius you spoke to. You just know you went to the Apple store. I went to the Apple store and Apple gave me a new phone. Apple Care took care of it. They're speaking as if the business is the entity, is the person.
right.
And
You represent the brand, so you are a brand.
exactly.
In a way, you are a brand ambassador. You represent
It- it's-
the name. You represent the whole. So every time you get on the phone and you speak, when I'm calling Apple, I'm under the impression that Apple has chosen the most competent, qualified, well-skilled person to handle
correct.
whatever question that I
Correct.
have.
Yep. And it's the same thing with this interview. Like I'm not trying to sell you on bells and whistles and features. And look, this is what I have. This is what I've been through. These are the scenarios that I've been through. This is how I rectified these situations. I can do this, and this. I can organize this, and this. I can make sure these deadlines are met. Da 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 da. What's up? And I got the track record to back it up, and I got the references to back it up upon request.
Now, in pertaining to men, I want to have a conversation with the men right quick. Anybody that's in here, all the men. Jose, that's funny. Say you sound like Liam Neeson. I have a particular set of skills. Hey, but that's how it is. I am who I am. And the thing about it is that that's not saying that I'm not coachable, I'm not moldable. That doesn't say I'm not flexible. What that's saying is this is what you're getting. And you have to make a qualified decision on if this fits with what you're looking for. Because if you have you're trying to fit a whole together, right? You're probably not trying to find the same thing. You're probably trying to find different pieces, different assets. It's like investing. It's like I'm not 100% invested in the same company. I have this much in the S&P 500. I have this much in company stock. I have this much over here, and they're going to all perform how they perform. But
Mhm.
I know that each one of them is going to give me something on the back end once it's time to
Mhm.
cash in.
Absolutely. How about selling yourself higher because you know you can do it? Yeah, and you definitely
Well, I
okay.
don't have to sell
I
myself
want to
high.
make sure
Instead, just make it
I want to make sure I clear that up. So
okay.
when I say selling yourself, you absolutely want to sell yourself for sure. But we're in a day and age now where people are desensitized to being sold to. You have to figure out how to be a little bit more creative in how you're delivering your message of how to sell yourself in an interview. You know, we are bombarded and blasted with advertisement every single day, billboards, commercials, YouTube ads, Twitter ads, TikTok ads. They're everywhere. We're constantly bombarded with being sold to. So we're desensitized to it now. You know, if you grow up in a certain neighborhood and you see certain activities every single day or almost every single day, you become desensitized to it. So
Well,
it's the same thing. You got to utilize that same concept and figure out how to, manipulate. I don't want to use the word manipulate, but how to cleverly place yourself in a position to where you're looked at as a higher candidate
let's add some
without
sauce on the
sounding
ribs.
salesmanly, salesman pitchy.
Well, let's add some sauce on those ribs. All right,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna just keep it as raw as humanly possible. Since the dawn of social media, you started. There was a time where you remember the news anchor, right?
Yeah,
Whenever you watch the news anchor had a certain kind of personality. It was just like it was all
certain
about the news.
personality.
It was
Yeah,
like
the news
professional.
anchor was a celebrity. Yes,
Well, hold on. Before social media, have you noticed the change in the news anchor since social media came into place? That they
yes,
have more of a personality
yes.
because they realize that they are more of an asset because people are not necessarily going to watch ABC 7 because they tell the news the best. They're bought into they're bought into the individual. So when I go and I watch the news, whether I was watching Fox for Tucker Carlson or whether I was watching
Mhm.
CNN for Don Lemon,
Yeah,
you're bought into the personality.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That
You're
was my
bought
next
into the personality, how they deliver. We like them. We like their projection. I like Cuomo. I like the way that Cuomo used to do his thing before he, got removed.
question.
But that's how it is. That's the world that we live in. Is the fact that people are more bought into personalities. Yes, anybody can do the job, but are you the right fit for what we need? Is the question.
Yeah.
So anybody can have the skill. You have to understand something, right? If I was let's say a sports team owner, when you get a new player and that player has the franchise ability, this is the reason why everybody doesn't get a shoe. This is the reason why everybody doesn't have a number one selling jersey. This is the reason why everybody's not prepared as a franchise player because some people have the look, they have the talk, they have the appeal, they have the ability to make people move. When Stephen Curry does something, I live in Orlando. When the Golden State Warriors come to town, they know they're going to fill up those seats. So the Golden State Warriors tickets are going to be more expensive at Amway because people want to see Stephen Curry. No debating. Now, when the Memphis Grizzlies come, there's nobody on there that has that enigmatic figure like Stephen Curry has.
Hmm.
So we're not going to pay as much. Fair market value says that there's nobody in the Memphis Grizzlies that gives me that feel that Stephen Curry gives. And that's the reason why those tickets are always going to be higher.
Absolutely. And why them seats are gonna be filled.
Yeah, because those seats are going to be filled. People are going to be lined up. They're going to be trying to do something strange to get some tickets because everybody wants to see Stephen Curry when he comes to town.
Hmm.
Now, we have to understand this, that you have to understand that the right person for the right situation. You may not be the right person for this current situation. When I speak about faking your way through, It's about understanding that there's nothing wrong with acknowledging the fact that it's not your time yet. This podcast, this thing that we're doing, this publication that we've been putting together, this is almost 20 years in the making. Believe it or not. This is almost 20 years in the making of all types of different things that we've done, audio, visual, stage performances, whatever have you, things that you would look at us today and say, no way you guys did that. But this is decades of work.
Yeah.
Just to get to a place to where the right avenue came along so we can cultivate those skills that we learned from vocal projection, from mic projection, mic placement, audio fidelity, video enhanced technology, all the different components married to where we found a lane so we could put all of it together and then present you guys a product that is correlated with our life.
Extraordinary men.
I'm sorry, just anyway.
Yeah, decades of cultivating. So Jose says, I believe in the past we could trust media, news, and newspapers. These days, everything is based on perception and how we feel about the matter. So, yeah, I mean, even back then, honestly, if you didn't know any better, if you understand, history and everything, now you understand that even back then that they were selling a bag of goods. But as far as perception, yeah, you dead on the money. Let's go back to Apple, for example. Let's say that Apple invested in, remember that Dawn commercial where the duck was covered in all this oil and they used the Dawn soap to clean the little baby ducky and it pulled on your heartstrings. Let's just say that Apple invested $1 million in the Dawn for Duckies Foundation. You know how many people, based off the perception of them being duck lovers, animal lovers, let's protect. You know how many animal lovers is going to rush over to Apple and go buy a product simply just based off the fact that they donated X amount of money to this foundation? It's all perception. That's why I said philanthropy. Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. But at the end of it, Apple got paid for that donation. Philanthropy is great, but it needs to have a dollar sign attached to it. That's all I'm saying. Perception is real.
I mean, like most things, when I look at the concept of perception, it reminds me of the word prestige. The word prestige, for those who don't know, is an old French word that means pretend. So when you start using like prestigious universities, prestigious colleges, that's what it means. In a nutshell, it means that it has this allure about it that makes it seem like it's better than what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are selling yourself in the aspect of trying to determine why it's better than what it is. What my argument will be is you cannot copy me. So if you're bought into the Mike Jones business or the Phil Jones business, you won't get another one of these. So the way that I speak, the way that I do things, the way that my mind works, the way that I operate, how I function, you can get anybody to do the job, but you cannot get another me. So if I can sell you on being involved in the Mike Jones or the Phil Jones business, the rest of it is history. You have to understand that the perfect relationships and the perfect connections have to marry in order for certain situations to come to pass.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about it is that you cannot make this you cannot create this falsified prestige about certain things. One of the reasons why I'm so adamant about not trying to sell it bigger than what it is because in the event that you cannot perform, there's your reputation out the window.
Instantly.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what's that old saying about reputation? It takes a decade to build it, and in 5 seconds to ruin it, or something like that.
Correct. Mm-hmm. You have to understand that with all the reels and all the things that we drop and everything that we do video wise and the subscribers that it brings us on a regular basis, all it takes is one incident to where it's like, oh, he did such and such. It doesn't even matter if I really did it or not. I don't even have to legit. Sometimes just the accusation alone can. Sometimes the accusation alone can cost you everything, and you have to come to the realization that it's bigger than you. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than any one circumstances that you could think about. Primarily because of the fact that when you are trying to elevate yourself, people are bought into you as a person. You are part of the package deal. We have to remember that you yourself are part of the package deal. We try to overhype ability, and ability is great. Ability is fine. But there's people who have the look without the ability, and people who have the ability without the look. So, for instance, right, you'll see somebody that's just like, oh, I keep getting skipped over for a promotion. Well, you looking at the fact that you are excellent at what you do, but are you paying attention to the outward factors that may play into the reason why they don't see you as a good fit? Just because you
You know
can.
what's the main thing about that?
What's that?
The biggest issue that you're getting overlooked is because you won't simply just voice it. I want a promotion. It's that easy. It only take to mention at one time, and then they finna slowly start paying attention to you. Slowly start watching. They finna start paying attention to are you on time more? Do you clock in and clock out from breaks on time? Are you back on the floor? Are you back in your department on time? They finna start paying attention to you.
Can you
The thing
separate?
that they're not watching.
Can you separate yourself from the fray? So when it comes down to the flock or the hive mentality, where it's like everybody's accustomed to doing things a certain type of way, can you stand out in a crowd? Do you move in your own direction when everything else is going on? That unfortunately is one of the things that people don't necessarily look at, is the fact that I still want to be this guy over here. Like I want to play both sides. And I think it's it's that scripture. John 1:8. I don't think that's the exact scripture. Let me not put that in there. But what I will say is the fact that there's a biblical scripture that says that a double-sided man is unstable in all his ways. That you can't play both sides of the fence. When you want something and you want to be about that, you have to spend every waking moment preparing yourself for the opportunity. Being in preparation for the opportunity means that you have to separate yourself from what you used to do. You have to be mindful not just of the skill sector of things, but you also have to be mindful of how am I being perceived from the outside looking in? Do people view me as a leader? Do people see me as a respectable figure? Because once I make that transition, are they going to listen to me, or is it going to be an uphill battle? Those are parts that you have to come into play. It's like, see, the Postal Service, for instance, they have a structure that they promote from within. So you very seldom, if ever, will see supervisors, managers, postmasters, otherwise that are external. So when you have these people in these positions that people are coming up from the ranks, one of the biggest problems that I've seen is the fact that you guys kind of get pigeonholed into a place to where you have to pick somebody. And sometimes the best candidate may not necessarily be a good one. It's just you can't keep reposting a job and you got to hire somebody.
Mhm.
So with that, you get people who may not necessarily have the respect of the people. They may have the skill set to do the job properly, but they may not have the respect of the people. Which you have to understand that when you're managing people, that's 80% of your job is managing people. Other 20% is paperwork. So you still got to be able to get people to do what you need them to do. And if people don't flock to you, if they don't see, like if you're not genuine in who you are, especially when it's just like, how are you going to tell me not to take 45-minute breaks when we were just at the restaurant together 2 weeks ago? How dare you come and tell me don't take long extended breaks? And you were one of the main ones.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean I need to show up to work on time? You've been late for like the last 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean you about to penalize me for calling out? You never show up. You're barely here. Now somebody gives, and again, it's like that's what leads to this idea of the good old boy mentality. That's what leads to the idea of, oh, it's about who you know and what you know, because getting opportunities should be based off of merit, should not be based off of who you know, what you know. But we know better. So because you know that there is an element of likability that comes along with getting opportunities, you have to be aware of the fact that it's not just about your ability to do, but it's about your ability to be seen as a leader in a position. So it has to be a marriage of both in order to be successful.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, let's go back to Jose. What you got for us? He says, I can copy you, but I can do I think he meant I can't copy you, but I can do a similar work to it. And the problem there is someone willing to do it for less, a reasonable, reasonably cheaper. People will love to pay less. I mean, that's business 101. That's the whole race to the bottom. Who can sell it for cheaper, who can provide it for cheaper, who can do it for cheaper, 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 cheaper. It's the undercutting someone is an actual business model. And a lot of times when you're undercutting, a smart entity is going to make up their business elsewhere. That's why Walmart right now is still successful. Not, I mean, outside of being able to go and get your products right here, right now, but they do pricing shifts. Your milk and all that, your eggs and all that will probably be a little bit cheaper than everybody else, but they gonna hit you over there in the electronic department. Your laptop probably gonna be $100 more, $50 more. That video game is probably gonna be $5 more. Your spray paint might be $2 more. They gonna make up that money elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? But they gonna get you in the door with all this product. I'm gonna undercut my competition. I'm gonna fix cell phones. I'm gonna do cell phones at $50, but I'm gonna make up the cost because it only costs me, buying in bulk. I'm putting the numbers out there. Buying in bulk, if you get screen protectors, the glass ones in bulk, if you buy them in bulk, you can probably get them for like 50 cents to $1. Okay, the store is gonna sell them for like $20, almost $30 for a glass. Cell phone cases, probably the same thing. You can probably get cell phone cases in bulk, $2-3. Outer boxes are running $30-$40. You know what I'm saying? So I may get you, I'm just gonna get you in the door to fix the phone, but then I'm gonna try to upsell you on the screen, the screen protector. Then of course, you gotta pay to put it on. Then I'm gonna try to get you man, your case this is raggedy. Get you another case, and boom, I made my profit. Post office, bad example, the hierarchy. Just look at the workforce. When they hire a person who runs the daily tasks by being a fair supervisor boss, they will give them grief. You want to kind of chime in on that one, Mike?
I did already. I mean, because the thing is that there is a part of speaking from an insider that I can only speak from the part that I've done. And it's like he's speaking from the part that he experienced. But even speaking from that perception is like, you know how it looks. So, yeah, there are some issues. But, for the sake of understanding that I'm currently employed there, I don't want anything that I say to be taken out of context. So I'll save that for off camera because I can get a little bit more in depth as far as how that goes. But that's not something I think that would be smart for me to do, seeing that that's how I pay my bills every day.
Mm-hmm.
But despite all of that, I think that one of the things that have to be understood, and the reason why I use that as an example is because it's not like other jobs. You don't have to have a degree to move up the corporate ladder. You don't have to have anything specific unless unless it's a skilled trade like engineering or other factors to where it's really imperative that you're highly skilled at doing certain things to get that, because to get that position, like you can't be a lawyer for the post office without a law degree. You can't,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't be an
I want to
industrial
keep it right there, Mike.
degree. You said what?
I want to keep it right there.
Go ahead.
I like where you was going with that. Um, you don't need a degree. Yes, if you do plan on being on the opposite end where you're gonna be the owner of the business, there's no law, as far as I know, there's no law that says that you need a degree or some type of certification to be a business owner. So if you do want to own a hospital, I don't think own a hospital degree exists. But if you want to work in the hospital, then yeah, you need a PhD. You need an MB. You need something that states that you're able to. I'm sorry, not MB, MD. To that states that you have the adequate intelligence to be able to be in this facility and you can operate to be able to not kill nobody or whatever have you. You know, there's no degree that says that in order for you to own a law firm that you got to have a degree. But if you want to be a lawyer, you have to pass the bar. Then you can come work. So I don't know. I just want to put that out there as a little gem like that. As far as I know, and I will look it up. I don't think there's a law that exists that says that you have to have a degree in order to be a business owner.
What what steps into mind or what comes into my mind at this time is that we have to understand something. This is just like pretty much a note that I would like to give to the men out here. A great deal of what you are judged on every day has a lot to do with what you produce. How our respect is earned is generally is rooted in our ability to produce. So we cannot create things if we cannot make things happen, if we cannot show up when the time is right, if we cannot provide support when necessary, we're not viewed very highly on the totem pole, not with women, not with each other.
Mhm.
A lot of times, in most situations, competency and ability play a large role in how opportunities are given. That when you're dealing with certain levels of money or certain levels of responsibility, you want the most competent person in those positions. You want the most skilled person in those positions. There's only so many places that fool's gold will get you. Let's look at every great Ponzi scheme known to mankind. Hell, let's look at the initial Ponzi scheme, Charles Ponzi.
Ponzi. Charles Ponzi.
When we look at the concept of a Ponzi scheme, the concept behind it is in order to keep it going, you have to bring more people in. You have to suck up more and more people in up until the bottom falls out. People are not getting their returns and they're looking to get their initial investment back, and then all of a sudden everything dies off. Understandably so, we have to put things into perspective. The reason why Ponzi schemes work is because you have one person or a group of people who are very competent but malicious, and they know how to sell to incompetent people. Incompetent people move off hope. They move off prayer. They move off wishes. They don't move off of educated guesses. They don't move off of being a skilled practitioner. They move off of I wish, I hope. The lottery would not be the lottery if you had more people that are educated to the odds of the lottery. Say how you catch more flies with vinegar or honey. I've never tried to catch a fly. I actually try to keep flies away. I know you can repel more flies with fire. I think that's a better example. I know how to keep flies away from me. Not necessarily catch them, but I imagine if I leave a hot dog out there, I'll probably catch more flies with a hot dog than vinegar or honey. So, no telling. I know the analogy. I'm just
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just,
He's just playing with you, man.
I'm busting your chops. No, but realistically, man, it's just like you have to take things into consideration for how they are. And one of the most important things that I've seen in my lifetime is this: when you have people who pretend to be skilled investors and they know how to sell the idea of something, the only reason that they get away with it is because people who are less skilled than them buy into the talk. Never once has anybody ever went to Ty Lopez and said, "Hey, man, I see all the cars you got in your background, but can you show a bank statement? Like, actually log in. Like, don't show me a snapshot. Can you actually log in and verify that you have what you say you have? Can you actually verify your
I
social?"
ain't gonna lie to you, dog. I'll probably slap somebody for asking me to log into my bank account.
My thing is that if you want me to give you some money and you trying to sell me on something that's too good to be true, I need to see it. I need to believe it. My whole thing is that at the end of the day, it's like it's at your discretion whether or not you gonna buy into it or not. Of course, that's anybody's opportunity to do or to don't. But in certain situations, you have to come to the realization that there are a lot of people who they are selling hope. They're not selling actual things that you can use. They're telling you what you want to hear. They're using all the trigger words, like we were just talking about this in one of our last podcasts. Generational wealth. That's a hot topic. So it's very easy to siphon small bits of money out of you and tell you invest in me because I'll help you start developing generational wealth. Well, there's no proof that I have generational wealth. But guess what? As soon as you transfer your money to me, now you're securing my generational wealth. I don't know what you're gonna do, but that's what's happening out here in the world.
Mm-hmm.
That you have a bunch of fake things going on around you constantly, and there's no fruit to bear. There's nothing like you never actually sit and watch people who do finance. Like I would love to see what's his name, what's Jordan Belfort have a conversation with Charlie Munger. I would love to see how that conversation would go.
Yeah,
I would love it.
that'd be interesting.
Huh?
That'd
Oh,
be interesting.
I mean, it's probably one of the most amazing. But it'd be like the WWF for finance, bro. Like, or
Mhm.
WWE. I just aged myself. I'm sorry, but like, yeah, it'd probably be one of the most amazing feats that you ever seen. But realistically, you don't. You remember that statement they say you can a Chrysler 300 looks like a Bentley until you pull up side of one.
Oh, it looked like a Phantom until a Phantom pull up. That was Cat Williams.
Yeah, I mean, it's like however the analogy goes. It's
Mm-hmm.
like one of the disclaimers for anybody who is, if you want to fact check somebody to actually verify that they're who they say they are, it's very simple. Very simple. Number one, how do the people around them respond to them? If you just watch the respect that people get from the people that's around them, will tell you a lot about who they are. Look at the people around them who have no vested interest in pretending along with them. Number two, if you really want to see who a person is, research what they say. I'll hear people say words all the time, and I'll go to this little, pocket PC of mine, Oh, okay, right there where they talking. You know that word don't mean what you said it mean.
Mm.
Are you sure when you said that word that's what that means? Oh no, I'm sure. My uncle does it. Like again, when you peel back the layers of the onion, you start realizing how little people actually know. They hear things, they use it out of context. Dumb people sound smart to dumb people. No better way for me to say it. I guess a lighter version would be that somebody who is somebody who is moderately educated sounds Harvard level to somebody who is uneducated.
Yeah, I
So
can see that.
you said
That
what?
makes sense. That makes sense. I can see that.
Yeah, so it's easy to sell you the Brooklyn Bridge or to make you believe that everything is what it is when you know nothing about what I'm saying. You have no idea what I'm actually saying. And because you have no real, true idea what it is I'm saying, I can easily con you into whatever it is I want you to believe.
Mm-hmm. And start walking you down my pay funnel. Start
Because
sliding you down my pay funnel.
it's so easy to win with surface information when you have no information. And you have to understand that a charlatan, they prey on finding people who know nothing. They are masters of finding ways to deceive. You can't,
Mm-hmm.
you'll never see. It's almost like if you see those people, right, that they are always sucking up to the boss. You know those type of people.
Mm-hmm. We call them brown noses.
Brown noses, suck ups, whatever you want to call them. Are those people ever actually good at anything?
As far as I know, no.
I don't know any brown noser who has ever actually been skilled to do. That they've earned their positions through currying favor from those that are in charge or those who are in positions of power.
Mm-hmm.
It's if you look at the 48 laws of power, it's I forget exactly which law it's stated in, but it's basically like courting favor. So basically, what happens is that the whole mission behind it is to allow yourself to be seen as some level of valuable to those that are in charge to usher yourself into a position because you have deemed yourself to be invaluable in the eyes of those who make decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, making you a mover and shaker because you are able to impress the chief movers and shakers. What else say? Talleyrand, one of the French generals. I believe that this is relative to him. I'll get back to you guys on exactly where that comes from out of the 48 Laws of Power, but I know that story very well, and you see it quite often to where people who are trying to get themselves into positions, they don't work on the skills necessary. They just work on the people. And while they try to curry up to the people, this is how they plan to gain their level of importance in the things that they do. This is one of the main things that I hate about people who are trying to fake their way through is that you're not who you are. You just convinced this person over here that you are, but everybody else knows the truth.
That sounds like a politician. Don't shoot me down.
No,
That's what that sounds like.
no. You know what? I will say this, and you probably be better qualified to speak to this because you do business every day. How often is it that before you went and started taking on the business model that you have, how often is it that you would have people who would call and solicit services, ask a bunch of questions, and never follow through?
Quite often. It was quite a bit every day almost. Trying to gain understanding, trying to figure it out. Uh, could have been other individuals trying to do their own thing, but yeah, it was quite a bit.
Now, how often would you say? Probably about in your day, especially when you were in the cell phone and tablet repair space? How
Mhm.
often did you see that? Like, if you could if you could quantify it and give a number as far as a percentage of how many of your phone calls were dead end phone calls based on that metric, what would you say?
I would say, if I had to quantify it, I would say about maybe 20% were dead end calls, whether it been just trying to get pricing or whether it been trying to gain information to try to understand the business.
And or trying to talk you into telling them how to do it for themselves?
Try to do right, right. I got real used to those type of calls. I learned real fast about those calls early on.
Like, I want to pick your brain.
Nah, man, you need to go ahead and just bring that in, bro. Like I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I'm kind of tied up right now. I got 4 phones in front of me right now. You're gonna have to bring it down here so I can look at it. And click. You know.
Ladies and gentlemen, do y'all have any stories or any situations to where you have observed somebody trying to fake their way through? I like to hear them. I like to hear them. I like to know what you guys have experienced out here in this space. But at that point, it's on you. If you're going to adventure in life, you have to do your research.
Well, you see, Jose, my bad. I've got a cold, man over here sick. Um, the point of that, Jose, is there's tact that needs to be done with it. There's It's different when you pick up the phone and there's a mutual benefit as to trying to obtain this said information so that you can try to advance yourself. You doing your research and everything. There needs to be a mutual benefit. Now it'd be different if he would have came down, if that individual would have came down and said, "Hey, I'm really interested in learning this craft. Are you open to doing internships? I will be here. I will help you fix these phones. I will give you my time. You know what I'm saying? I see that you backlog. Can I help you? And in the process, can I learn how to do this?" There's a mutual benefit. You're going to help me move these phones and tablets and laptops out so I could then increase revenue faster. And then in turn, I will give you a skill set. It needs to be beneficial, but just calling up, just trying to obtain it, that's the fastest way to turn off a coach or someone that you trying to look up to as a mentor. That's the quickest way to turn off a mentor when they don't see the benefit as to why they should offer their time and information to you.
Where's oh my God, where's my book? In the 48 Laws of Power, it states that when asking for help, you should appeal to the person that you're trying to ask for help rather than
Yes.
trying to sell them on what it does for you. So please, 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 man, I really need this. Like, think about it. Like, if you ask me to borrow money, is there any real vested interest in you asking me to borrow money? Now it's like this, hey man, I need $20 so I can get something or this, that, and the third. Versus, listen, I got a job coming up and I need this much money to be able to attack that job. And the payout is
Mhm.
going to be this much. This is what I can give you on the back end for this initial investment of this much money. Can you help me?
Yeah. And it needs to be thorough. It needs to be thorough. And I think 50 Cent, if I'm not mistaken, it was 50 Cent that said that. Friends, family, I have no problem. But I need an actual, well thought out business plan on the ROI in this venture that you want to take on. I have no problem. But I need to see what the ROI is going to be. That's it. If it's solid, if it's fantastic, you've actually done the research geographically, monetarily. You understand your competitors and all of that. If you could break all that down and present that to me with graphs and expectations and things, yeah, we can talk.
What's that? Would you like an employee who do it fast, an employee who does it right the first time? Um,
You cannot have speed and quality at the same time.
you can, but it's a practice. You have to understand that it's like the first time out the gate is like you can be naturally good. Like if you think about it in like a sport, you may have people who have natural ability that they're just great at sports, but in order to be a dominant factor, you have to practice. You have to practice. And the thing about it is that like anything that you do in repetition, you will get faster, you will get better. There's nothing that I have ever done that I'm just as slow now as I was when I started.
Yeah, you're definitely going to get faster, but you're definitely going to hit a misstep somewhere. Oh man, I forgot to put that screw in. That's all. That's why I won't. You know,
Oh yeah.
in my experience, and I'm only speaking from my experience being in my field. The Yeah, there's nothing wrong with having speed and being fast and trying to get it done, but that does nothing but cause mishaps, which will then start to lead into bad behaviors, things not getting done right, shortcuts. I don't believe in speed and quality. Not in my field.
The word efficiency is created off of the marriage between finding the fastest way to do it the best way possible. Now the thing is that the fastest way to do anything is not by me speeding up, but it may be about me having more people with like-minded skills to attack the job.
Yeah. Yes, because sometimes finding the best way possible may be the shortcut way, which will then turn into a repeat call, which would then turn into a warranty call.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that I look at a lot of the models that a lot of people operate off of, and it's like I say that you have to look at a situation and ask yourself, is speed really a factor in this situation? Does speed really matter as much in this situation as what leads on? Because you
Mhm.
can go out there, you can force it. And Jose, we work for the same company. You know where speed comes in, also comes a boatload of mistakes. Amen. Because later you will have another employee fixing the problem that your speedy guy did, and will cost you twice. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
That's that's exactly what it is. If I go and I let somebody go and do and cut my hair, and I know that I'm gonna and I'm necessarily get a bad haircut, I'm gonna have to pay somebody else to go and fix that bad haircut.
Fix it, yeah.
So I'm definitely gonna sit down in his chair again. And where I might not be losing money, I'm losing time because now I got to go to another barber to fix it, or I got to cut it all off and then wait for it to grow back, and then I got to start all over again.
You start all over again. What's that old saying? Trying dollar stupid, trying to be penny wise or something like that.
I never. That's always a favorite of mine. Yeah, and in your current work field, and that's what I was stating is that you know just like I know that a clean route is a happy route, and those people who are running through stuff constantly, 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 when you get out there the next day, you're gonna see it, you're gonna hear about it. You got to think about it. You go and you deliver a package that somebody paid $60 to have delivered to them. They went through all of this just for it to get right here, just for it to get right here, so close that you can taste it. And now it's sitting on the neighbor's porch.
I know he said something. I don't want to breeze past it. Um, oh, the saying is, and dude, sorry if I'm butchering it, but you gonna be dollar dumb trying to be penny wise. You trying to go the cheapest route possible, and you sacrificing quality over the cost. So when the cheaper person does the job and they don't do it right, they screw up the job, they screw up the project. Now you got to pay twice to have it done right. And have it done right the way it should have been done in the first place. So you actually paid twice to have the same job done. And then you said is a trust that you put on an individual. Now, when it comes to a business, you have to do research. I believe you were saying that in reference to uh, my 50 Cent comment about that he has no problem working with family and friends and things of that nature, as long as there's a solid business plan in place that exceptionally emphasizes ROI. He has no problem. Now, as far as trust, you just gotta have it. When it comes to business, that's really all you have to bank off of until you've actually developed a solid relationship. But even then, that solid relationship came out of trusting that individual to come through with what they said they was gonna come through with. So yeah, it's all trust. Whether it's a brand new person, whether it's a family member, whether it's a close friend, it's all built on trust.
Yeah, I mean, it's like at the end of the day, even with something as simple as putting on the podcast, the one thing is that I trust that my brother's going to be on this line every time. That's one of the things that happens. And the thing about it too is the fact that people show you certain traits to let you know who they are and what they are. And in certain arenas, they may be trustworthy. In other arenas, they may not be as good.
Mhm.
So some people might be excellent with kids but poor with finances. Just because you're great here doesn't mean that it translates to you being great across the board. And that's something that we also have to take into consideration. That is like, you may be my favorite cousin, but being my favorite cousin is like, if that thing that we used to do is something I no longer do, it might be time for me to transition.
Mhm.
Say, sorry, these days I can't trust my own shadow in the AM in front of me and the PM behind me. Here's what happens. You have to take into consideration what you do, what you have going on in your life, and what you want. If what you want requires you to open up, then you have to seek the ability to be able to learn how to trust, which means that counseling, mentorship, anything to where somebody can help you deal with the issues that you have that cause the mistrust, those things are going to be essential to your transition. And you have to look at things along the lines of what I want to gain is what is the thing that's hindering me currently. Is it going to benefit me 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road? If
Mhm.
I have this good woman at home that I know has my best interest at heart, but I have trust issues, can those trust issues cost me my relationship? Is this relationship worth me dealing with my trust issues? Go see a counselor. If it's not, stop wasting that woman's time and move on. And it's
Mhm.
just general advice for anybody. But same thing comes along when with almost every situation. Like as he was referencing business, it's like you do trust people, whether you think that you don't. You trust that your check is going to be in your bank account every Friday or every Wednesday, depending on what type of bank account that you have. That's why you go to work every day. You
Mhm.
trust that when you go to a restaurant to buy food, that it won't be poisoned. You trust
Mhm.
that when you hop in your car, that it's going to start. You trust every single day. You trust that when you wake up, that your dog is going to greet you or do what your dog normally does when you come home from work, and that it's not going to bite you and turn on you. You trust all day long. You trust that when you leave the house, that nobody's going to break in your place. You trust all the time, whether you realize it or not. And the thing is that we undervalue certain aspects of things where it's just like, oh, well, I don't trust other people. Sure, you do. I don't know those people that's in Subway making my sandwich, but I trust that their hygiene is good and they wash their hands.
Mhm.
I trust that when I go sit down at that restaurant, that those people are using the best quality products and that they're washing their hands in between meals and that they're not cooking the stuff in the same grease or in the same pots that they used other stuff in. It's been sitting around for a couple of days. You trust all the time.
And not only do you trust all the time, but you take risks all the time,
All the time.
on a daily basis. When you show up to work, I don't know where you work at, but let's just say it's pallet jacks at your job. You know, you risk possibly getting hit in your ankle with a pallet jack. Just the fact that you got in your car and got on the road, you risk being hit by somebody or you hitting somebody. You know, we take risks every single day.
And with that being said, you have to always take into consideration that you cannot devalue experience. You can't. It's like I don't know a single person at this age group that does not have any form of major traumatic situation that they have experienced or endured that they're not dealing with. But it's up to you to deal with it. Every anger issue that I had from my upbringing, every situation I've ever had in my lifetime, I knew that I could not project that on my own child when I became a father. So, in order to give her a chance to lead a healthy existence, I had to do the work. Was it hard? Yes. Did it get on my nerves? Yes. Did it cause me to have to forgive a lot of people that I did not want to forgive? But I had to realize that the forgiveness was for me, it wasn't for them. The forgiveness was to remove that burden from my heart so that I could move on. It had nothing to do with them. But most importantly, I had to forgive myself. If somebody did wrong to me, I had to forgive myself for allowing it to happen to me. If it was mutual damage, I had to forgive myself for the part that I played. If I was wrong, I had to forgive myself, not make excuses for who I was at the time, but I had to forgive myself to say, you are absolutely 100% wrong. And now you got to deal with that. And you got to eat that. You're going to carry that depending on how big the burden was to bear, but you got to carry that with you.
Yeah, especially as a man, you know, because I know how stubborn, you know what I'm saying, us men can be and how unapologetic, you know what I'm saying, we can be and how hard we can be. But, you know, it does take a lot of power. You know, you constantly playing scenarios back and forth in your mind. You know what I'm saying? Is he gonna be receptive to my apology? You know what I'm saying? Is she gonna be receptive to my apology? Is he really gonna see this as I'm being genuine? You know, it's a lot of things that, you know, a lot of emotions that go into that, trying to play with that. And like you said, you need, you know, if you need help, seek the help to help you coast through that process.
And you
But
have
that's a big one.
and you have to trust that the people that you have around you are going to give you the right advice. And the advice that they give you is not a pathway on how to break through the breakdown. You might want to reevaluate who you're around. Because you don't want for them to struggle through the struggles. You don't want them to go through the struggles. It's bigger than just going through the struggles. It's like one thing that you have to understand about a generational curse is a generational curse is nothing more than a lack of acknowledgement or a blind eye to situations that have happened in the past. It's almost like a
Both.
a young woman getting pregnant in her teenage years, but her mother never told her that she did the same thing. So instead of the mother having a conversation with that daughter to say, hey, you know what, I made this mistake and I want to help you not make the same mistake. I want you to look at me. I want you to look at my situation. I want you to understand that when I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking to you from a place of somebody who made the mistake already. Instead, that mother will hide it, pretend like it wasn't there, play the victim, do everything under the sun. And then when the daughter suffers the same fate, then now she's scrutinized, she's ridiculed, she's talked down to, because the guilt that mom feels, she redistributes that guilt onto the daughter because she won't take acknowledgement for the fact that that probably could have been prevented if you had came clean.
Yeah. Or again, a generation of wealth, which you saying the acknowledgement. It's we've been living this way so long. We've been operating and rocking and rolling this way so long that there's this huge ginormous blanket of being oblivious to it. No one's no one's level of financial education is high enough to be able to even hold the conversation about it and start to get the ball rolling in the right direction. It's not going to start with well, I'm sorry. It starts with somebody acknowledging it, stop being oblivious to it, start holding a conversation with the rest of the family, and then start getting the ball rolling. It's going to take a generation or two, but you got the ball rolling.
Exactly. And that's what it takes.
Mhm.
No one learns through others. That's there's a counter statement that a smart person learns from their own mistakes and a wise person learns from the mistakes of others.
Mhm.
I have learned from the mistakes of others. I don't sell drugs. I don't do drugs. I don't
Mhm.
take part in illicit activities because I learned from the mistakes of others. I went to school. I graduated. I'm still
Mhm.
pursuing higher education because I learned from the mistakes of others. I see the path of ruin of what being ill educated and ill prepared does. I learned that as a myriad of my own experiences mixed with a bunch of other experiences. But when I speak to my child, I'm speaking to her from a position of somebody who has seen it and somebody who has lived it so that hopefully all she has to do is she can take from what I've done and okay, well, dad said this was going to happen, so I'm not going to go down that road. Oh, he told me beware this type of person over here because this person is a user. Oh, this person right here is a manipulator. Oh, this person is a fraud. Oh, this person is going to tell me everything I want to hear. And it feels good, but none of what they say match up with what they actually do. No, okay, cool. I'm going to leave that alone. That's the
Mhm.
goal. And if she missed the mark, hopefully the one that she ushers in, she continues to transition over. But they always tend to get better over time when you give them something that you didn't have. All I know is I had a bunch of visuals. Chicago is not an easy place. So when you look around and you look at where I live and the things that I do, the habits that I have, the way that I talk, my presentation, this is not indicative of where I grew up.
Mhm.
None of this is indicative of where I grew up. Hell, being a full-time father is not indicative of where I grew up. So there's only so much of that. Oh, you never learn from other people's mistakes. I learned from my father's. I learned from his.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I take that with a grain of salt.
You could definitely learn from other mistakes, man. We ain't even got to bring it on a monetary level or anything like that. Just look at it like this: if you see somebody touch fire and they get 3, 4, 5, 6 degree burns, do you not know not to touch that fire? I mean, it could be something as simple as that. You know not to touch fire, don't you? You definitely learn that from somebody,
What you mean? I'm not supposed to touch fire?
right?
All right, guys. Speaking of things that you should touch, at this point in time, you
You know
should
what,
have
Jose?
touched.
I'm sorry, Mike. I'm sorry, Mike. He talking about destiny. You make your. Can we save that for another show? Because hold
Jose,
on.
Friday.
The
Jump
cap.
on that.
I feel a certain way about you make your own destiny. Like
Hold
we'll
on.
talk
Wait a
about
minute.
it, Jose. We'll
Wait a
talk about
minute.
it.
Wait a minute, because we might have to play devil's advocate on that one. I think that we're gonna have a beef show.
Listen, I am a firm believer. I am a firm and solid believer in you get in what you put out. Okay. That ain't always the case because sometimes you do put in a lot and you get nothing out. That's just the way the claw machine work. Okay. But as far as It's just the word destiny, like it was like it was foreseen, like it was written, so therefore it is. And I just don't believe in that. You go through situations, you learn from these situations, you develop yourself from these situations, you grow from these situations, and then you keep moving. You keep growing and you keep meeting people and you keep doing this and you keep doing that, whatever it is on a path that you own to where you finally can reach a goal that you're trying to reach. But as far as like a destiny, like it was the way that it was supposed to be, I don't believe in that.
Guess what we're gonna be doing on Friday? Sound like we're gonna have a little smoke in the city. Sound like we're gonna have a little smoke in the city because Mike Jones has a different point of view. But since
Okay.
we're already an hour and 15 minutes in, we're gonna say this for another time. So you make your own, wasn't forcing. Nope, Jose, Friday, dog. Friday. Make sure y'all brighten up on Friday because me and my brother finna have a verbal war. Cause it's gonna go
Oh
down.
man.
It's gonna go down.
Our first smoke session. Let's go.
Man, like it's gonna be good. Let's go outside. Nah, straight up and down though. First and foremost, thank you guys for tuning into another exciting episode of the Extraordinary Man podcast with the Extraordinary Man. You guys know my name, Phil Jones, or Mike Jones. Have you know me personally or professionally? You guys know this gentleman that's right down here that used to be over there to the side, but he came down here so we could allow the chats in. And thank you, Jose Torres Acosta, for joining us today and commenting with us and making sure to keep the chat live for us. We genuinely appreciate your time, your efforts,
Absolutely.
everything you put into this. You guys know this dude at the bottom, man. I mean,
Oh man.
I keep saying he don't need no introduction, but yes, he does. Yes, he does. Do you guys know this guy?
Man, so check it out. Quick announcement. Starting Monday, starting to the next Monday rolling around. I'm going to be starting a real small mini series called Money Mondays with Midas, where I'm going to I just did it today. I completely cleared out my whole entire Acorns. I completely cleared out my whole entire Cubase, like all those. And I'm finna start from scratch. And what I want to do is I want to start building uh stock investments with you. I want to walk through the process together with you, and we're going to build our portfolios, and we're going to, invest. And I ain't talking we got to do like 20, 30, 40. No, we finna do like $2 here, $1 there, a dollar here, a dollar there, small investments, and we're going to start building this thing together. So I want to do that with y'all. As far as the time, I will let you know on the Friday show.
I just want y'all to know this is the first time I'm hearing about this, so I'm feeling.
Yeah. All right, so I am Midas. Make sure you put a king in front of that. Let's go.
All right, y'all. As always, thank you for tuning in, Jose. As soon as I get the intel, we're gonna make sure that you get the link. Like I said, it'll be here on Friday's show. Also, for those who are tuning in, we would really appreciate it if going forward, if you have not already, you go ahead and you tune into the YouTube. We're trying to get our watch hours up. So one of the things with our watch hours is that we lose a lot by going direct through Facebook. So if you're already somebody who is consistently watching the show, somebody that's consistently invested in the show, hit the link that you have right here at the bottom using your cell phone. If you don't have a cell phone, you can use the link that's in the chat box. If you need the link, just reach out to one of us directly, either in the Facebook group, The Extraordinary Man, or you can reach out to either one of us on Phil Jones 1986 on every social media platform except Snapchat, because I still don't understand it. And then you got Michael Merritt or King Midas, Michael Merritt. There's a million of them, but all of them. Reach out to that gentleman as soon as possible. We'll give you the direct link to the YouTube, but it really will help us to rise up the algorithm and build the channel up via YouTube. You guys start tuning in and checking us out there. Greatly appreciate all the time and attention that you guys give to us and give to the content. If you have feedback, might just tell them where they can go to get the feedback.
Man, you can go to the Facebook group, that Extraordinary Men Podcast Facebook group, and that's where you can contact us directly. You can speak to us directly, and we can talk about different topics, whether it be mental health, finances, business. It doesn't matter. That's where it all goes down. There's a whole community there. Come in, chime in, tap in, and let's make it extraordinary. Also, that Money Mondays with Midas, that is going to be a YouTube exclusive. So that's the only place that you'll be able to get it.
All right, so you guys heard it here first. All right, got any other announcements that you want to make?
I lost another 5 pounds.
And I found it. Too much sauce in them ribs. No, stop. Congratulations on that 5 pound loss.
Yeah, man, it's completely changing the way I eat. I've been getting out the house more. You know what I'm saying? Starting to slowly start to get into light jogs now. You know, just building myself up, man. I'm trying to be extraordinary.
One day you're gonna look as good as me.
Man, I'm trying.
I know.
I'm trying.
You're gonna get that.
You know, you got that perfectly chiseled like chin. I ain't got that, man.
Chipmunk cheeks. Chipmunk cheeks, baby. What you talking about? Chipmunk cheeks. That's their favorite part. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, check us out Friday. We're gonna have beef live in effect. Do you create your own destiny will be the topic of the show. Bring a friend because y'all gonna hear me domestically assault my brother for
All right, y'all.